Tutorial is going to be a quick trick for arranging your tracks, especially if you're really struggling to extend your tracks from 8 and 16 bar ideas into fully fledged 3 and 4 minute tracks. Because I know when I first started out, the idea of getting these small little ideas that I'd got going, I was really happy with, but trying to extend them into actual finished tracks, 3-4 minute tracks, could be an incredibly daunting and scary prospect. So this is a really nice, easy way of arranging your tracks really easily, and also trying to learn something about the genres that you're trying to write in. This works for loads and loads of different types of genres, but I've got a bit of an ambient electronica thing that I'm working with today. So I'm going to give you a little blast of the first idea that came up with it for this track. It's literally just this 16 bar section here. So here's what we've got to start off with. So there you go, that's a nice little snippet of what we've got going on. It's not completely finished. I'd like to layer up some extra synths on here, maybe vary some of the drums, and certainly get some organic things going on with my filters and some sweeps and things like that. But on the whole, it's getting there, and I'm quite happy with the way it's going. Now, what I've done at the top here, and you might be able to see it already, is a nice trick of trying to learn some structure and arrangement of your tracks, is to find an artist that writes in a similar genre to you, something that you listen to, so an artist that you really like, or writes tracks like you want to write, or has written a track that's kind of similar to the genre that you're going for with the track that you've done, and rip one of their tracks. So what I've got is Baby by Four Tet here, and I'm really not interested in the chords or the melody or what's going on here. All I'm interested in is the structure and how he's laid out his tracks, because I really like Four Tet, and it's kind of a little bit similar to what I've got going on here. So what I did is I got the track here and stuck it up the top, and I matched it so it matches the BPM 127. And what I did is I chopped off right at the very start of the intro and matched it up right to the start of the track. So you can see that after exactly 24 bars, this next section comes here. You can actually visually see it, and then drops into the second section down here. Now I'm not going to play it here because I'll get hit with some copyright strikes and adverts and things like that, and essentially we're not even interested in the track itself, we're just interested in the arrangement and structure. And what I did, if you've never seen it before, and let me just try and get rid of this so I can show you on a brand new section. So what you can do up the top here, if you've never seen it before, there's an extra button up here, and if you click on it in Logic, it brings up this thing called arrangement. And what arrangement is literally just a bunch of markers that you can use to label the different sections in your track. It doesn't do anything to your mix, it doesn't actually change any of the sections itself, it just maps it out and makes it easier for you to see, especially if you're coming back to a track that you've written a while ago and you can't remember exactly what's going on. So the way it works, you click this plus button and it'll bob up with a new section here, because I've already filled this already. So you click that and it vents a new section, and you can make the section as long or as short as you want, and you can label it whatever you want. It's got a few labels in here already: intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro. Or we can even rename it, so we might want to call it B section. There you go, and you have a different section there on the end. But what I've done with Four Tet's track here, and you can kind of see it already, is I went through the entire thing and I mapped out what each of the sections are like. And I started off with, this is the main section here, this main groove, and I've called it section A, but I've called it 1 next to it. And the reason I've done that is because this section keeps on coming back in pieces, and what he does is each time it comes back he slightly varies something about it. So maybe a little bit about the way the drums are working, maybe it's a little bit about the vocals and the melody, or something like that in terms of the production, but essentially the chords and the bass line have remained exactly the same. And what I did is the first 24 bars, he's got this intro, this kind of ambient intro, and it kicks into his first section, A, and then he's got another version of A, which is 8 bars long, so half as much, and this time he has less vocal chops in the melody. And then he brings back some more vocals in. I'm going to call this section A3 because it's ever so slightly different from this one here. And then he has a breakdown here. And then after the breakdown, so the breakdown's got some drums in it. And after the breakdown, he just has this ambient chord section where it gets really mellow. And then he brings back A1. And I've called it A1 because it's exactly the same as this section, just copied and pasted. And after A1, he's got another variation that we've not quite heard yet on the A section that we're going to call A4. And then lastly, he's got this stripped back version, which we're going to call A5, and a little outro. And the entire thing is 4 minutes 20. And the idea of writing a 4 minutes 20 track from a 16 bar idea is scary. But what I've done here is I've literally just mapped my track onto his structure. And like I said, I'm not interested in the chords or the melody or anything he's done. But what I've done here is I had my first section here. And then what I did with the vocal chops here is that I did try to vary up here. So there's some slight different variations of the chops there. And then bring this melody section back in here. And then the easiest bit after that is I back engineered an introduction here. So you can see that I've copied and pasted these chords here and the bit of the backing synths here. I took out the basses. There's a bit of a riser here. There's some ambient chops here with some delay on, and there's a bit of an infinite delay thing that I've got coming in here, automated, and I've got some EQ drums up the top here. And I'll give you a blast of this, of what I've done here. But basically, just by writing this first section here and mapping it onto somebody else's track in the same genre, it's allowed me to create pretty much my entire structure here. So I'll give you a blast from the start and you can hear what I mean. So there you go. And that's a really easy trick for arranging your tracks. And the idea is that the more you start to do this, the more you try and learn the rules and the conventions that are in each genre that you're going to work in. And like I said, this works for any genre. If you're going to write a metal tune, go listen to some metal tracks. If you're going to write a drum and bass track, listen to some drum and bass. If you're going to write an acoustic thing, listen to some acoustic tracks. And before you know it, you're going to have learned all the rules and conventions. And after a while, you're not even going to be reaching for anybody else's tracks because that knowledge is going to be in your head. And by the way, you don't even need to stick this up the top here. I know I stuck it in my DAW at the top. You can actually just do this with a pen and paper if you wanted to, and just stick the track on, map out with the pen and paper what's going off in the track, and then just get rid of that track off your screen and start off a brand new session in your software. And this is a really, really easy way of learning the structure of longer tracks. So give it a try with your tracks, and I hope it works out well for you. Thanks for listening. See you later. Bye.